Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM News at 5 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
It's good to have you here. I'm Whitney Ward. Tonight we are learning new details about that Reardon shooting where a 15-year-old was shot and killed. A 16-year-old could be facing first-degree manslaughter charges and charges of unlawful possession of a firearm. We first brought you this story as breaking news last night. KREM 2's Janelle Finch joining us live from Reardon tonight after sitting down with the police chief. Janelle?
Well, Mark and Whitney, just in the last half hour, officials just cleared the scene after being here all day. This community is forever changed after yesterday's shooting. The Reardon police chief says the shooting was accidental, but unfortunately, last night a 15-year-old boy didn't get the chance to go home. Here's what we know. Thursday, Reardon is quiet and cold, but one home at South Laurel and West Summit is active with criminal investigators.
It was a very unfortunate incident.
Washington State Patrol and local investigators hold up blood-stained clothes and take 3D renderings of the house after a Wednesday afternoon hangout turned deadly.
We had 5 juveniles that they all know each other, all friends. They were in one of the juveniles' basement playing video games. A handgun was introduced to the scene where they were at, and it was discharged.
The Reardon police chief says those fired rounds hit a 15-year-old boy and killed him. He also says the gun didn't belong to anyone living at the house, and the suspect is just 16.
Kids should not have firearms without adult supervision, and this is what happens when kids have access to firearms that aren't secure and adults aren't around to monitor that kind of activity, unfortunately.
Under Washington state law, it is required for all firearms to be properly locked and stored. The police chief says as of today, no additional charges have been filed. But the 16-year-old suspect could be facing first-degree manslaughter and unlawful possession of a firearm. We do know the identity of the victim at this time and that he was a student at Reardon High School. Today, school was optional for students to attend, as well as being delayed 2 hours. This is an active investigation and police will continue to do their investigative work. Live in Reardon, Janelle Finch, KREM 2 News.
All right, Janelle, thank you very much. And in an effort to keep guns out of kids' hands, last year Spokane Public Schools adopted a resolution to encourage safe gun storage. Local gun safety advocates tell us that marks the first school board in Washington to do so.
Now, when it passed last November, the school board hoped it would further educate families about the importance of proper firearm storage. According to the National Threat Assessment Center, up to 80% of gun violence on school grounds happens with someone who's younger than 18 and who has a gun they got from their own home or the home of a friend or relative. Now looking ahead to a story we are working on for KREM 2 News at 6 tonight. Drug overdoses, vehicle crashes, and guns, all the top killers of children.
But are gun-related deaths now the leading cause of death in children in our country, like Governor Jay Inslee recently said?
Today, gun violence, and this is shocking to me, is the leading cause of death of our young people.
So is that true, and what does the data show? I'll verify that claim coming up on KREM 2 News at 6 tonight. We are also tracking a tragic story out of Florida where 3 people are dead, including a news reporter, after a series of shootings in Orlando.
Deputies say a 19-year-old was arrested and could be responsible for all 3 shootings. They say the gunman killed a 20-year-old woman yesterday morning, then returned to the scene in the afternoon and shot 4 more people, killing a 9-year-old and a TV news reporter. 2 others are in critical condition.
No one in our community, not a mother, not a 9-year-old, and certainly not news professionals, should become the victim of gun violence in our community.
The suspected shooter is in custody tonight. Police are still searching for a motive in this case. All right, want to check in with our forecast now because we woke up to some brutally cold temperatures driven down by wind chill, and those cold temperatures have stuck around all day.
Yeah, the sunshine came out, but it sure didn't warm anything up. Let's send it over to our chief meteorologist, Jeremy Legoo.
You guys ready for more?
No.
No.
One more day.
Oh, man.
Yeah, if we must. And then it warms back up. So hang in there. Everyone at home, by this time tomorrow, it is going to feel almost 30 degrees warmer than it does right now. But right now, it's those wind chill advisories and feels like temperatures below 0 across much of the inland Northwest. Teens in Spokane are, well, now down to 12, 9 in Coeur d'Alene, 13 in Deer Park, 15 in Ritzville, and 19 in Moses Lake. Pullman, Moscow, you're around 20 degrees and feel pretty close to it. But as the wind makes its way down to you, it is going to feel much colder. Wallace, 0 for your wind chill. 11 below in Coeur d'Alene, 5 below in Spokane, 2 above 0 in Ritzville for your feels like temperature. But over the course of the next, say, 12 hours, we're going to watch wind start to die down. And by tomorrow, you're going to go, wait a minute, I no longer hear the wind howling. And as the wind stops howling and as the sun comes back out, our feels like temperatures go from about 15 to 25 degrees below 0 in the morning to 15 to 25 degrees above 0 in the afternoon. It is almost a 50-degree swing in feels like temperatures for some. Most of us, about a 35 to maybe 40-degree swing. So we'll eventually get there. I was talking to Laura Papetti earlier. She requested more cold in the days to come, but Laura, I'm sorry, it's only warmer temperatures as we head into the weekend.
Ah, that darn Laura Papetti.
That's right.
Thanks a lot. All right, in other news, public safety, housing, and mental health. Those are the three main topics Spokane Mayor Nadine Woodward focused on in her State of the City address this morning.
KREM 2's Amanda Rowley attended that address, and she's joining us here live now in the studio with the accomplishments and future plans the mayor discussed today. Amanda?
Mayor Nadine Woodward says the city has taken big strides in building a safer and sustainable community, but she acknowledges there's still much more to be done.
We are excited to share with you today the things that we've been working on.
The State of the City address is a time for the mayor to reflect on the city's accomplishments while looking forward to current and future projects for Spokane. Today, Mayor Nadine Woodward highlighted the city's efforts to hire more police officers.
The feedback was consistent. People want more officers on patrol in their neighborhoods.
She also announced plans to introduce an ordinance that addresses the use of drugs in public. Woodward is working on this proposal with council members Michael Cathcart and Jonathan Bingle.
The community has demanded that we do something about rampant drug use that occurs on sidewalks, in parking lots, stairways, and storefronts. We'll be bringing that ordinance to the full council the next few weeks as another way to get people the help they need while respecting the use of public spaces for all of us.
At last year's address, Mayor Woodward announced the formation of a Spokane Police Task Force to help curb the increase in violent crime. Today, Woodward shared its success so far.
Since becoming operational in June, that task force has arrested more than 4 dozen individuals identified as prolific violent offenders.
She also discussed projects launched to increase housing availability in the city and efforts to prioritize mental health for local youth. Moving forward, Woodward asks the community to speak up about what's working and what's not.
Now, Mayor Nadine Woodward noted Expo 74 is coming up on a major anniversary, and she says there are plans in the works for an Expo Plus 50 celebration. It will come together over the next year as work finishes on the new stadium. Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Well, that does sound fun. We'll look forward to that, Amanda. Thank you. And it was a mad dash to get tickets for Saturday night's Gonzaga game in the Kennel. Look at this. This was on campus. And barring a loss by GU this week, Saturday's game between Gonzaga and St. Mary's will determine the WCC regular season champion.
Don't they know it's cold outside?
They don't care.
It is one of the most anticipated games of the entire year, and the ESPN Game Day crew will be there live in the Kennel from 7 to 9 on Saturday morning. Well, today the bus rolled into Spokane, and KREM 2's Cody Proctor was there. And Cody, we know this is a big deal, so what was the students' reaction today?
Well, Mark and Whitney, the group that was out here for the game day, for the arrival of the game day bus, could be best described as small but mighty. That's because they were tough enough to hang out in near 0 degree temperatures to wait for this arrival for the game day bus here at the Kennel. Now, this is a big deal. The last time that the game day was actually here in Spokane was back in 2009. That was when number 18 Bulldogs took on number 15 Memphis. This time, it's against St. Mary's inside the McCarthy Athletic Center. This will also be the 6th time the Zags have been a part of the College Game Day show. Host Reese Davis will be live on the court this Saturday, along with analysts to break down the game. It's a big game that's expected to have a big crowd.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited. I got tent 119, so it's not like we're gonna be in the front row or anything, but I mean, just getting into that basketball game and the basketball atmosphere of being in the Kennel, it's just going to be huge. And
it is so nice to have the bus here and what an amazing experience.
So I'm a huge college basketball fan, so I know what game day is all about, and I know all the attention that it brings. So when I heard about it, I just knew you got to be there, you got to show up, because it's a really big deal.
And I'm sure fans this Saturday are looking forward to some slightly warmer temperatures. That's because doors are expected to open Saturday morning for the College Game Day show at 6 a.m. The show then airs from 7 to 9 that morning. Parking is free. By the way, be sure to join us on KREM 2 News that night as well, too. We will be bringing you coverage of both College Game Day and Gonzaga's matchup against St. Mary's. Live at the McCarthy Athletic Center, Cody Proctor, KREM 2 News.